Hi, Nancy Burt-Preece here, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Here's all my contact information. Please take a screenshot. Please join at least my YouTube channel and hopefully my Facebook business page too, because I post other things on both of those. So please check those out. We're going to make 2 cards today. The first one is this one. It is a vertical Nature Walk centerfold card. So it opens like this. I'm going to tweak it up. I made this with a Bible verse for a group of demonstrators I'm in where we do scripture cards. So this one I'm going to change it up and use some of the sayings in Nature Walk. And I'll show you how this is a great male birthday card. And then I'm going to do this one, which I cased from Lynn Dunn. And she calls it, what does she call it? She calls it 4-panel Z-fold cards. So we're going to check those both out. I will put the measurements in the description or in the comments so that I'm not going to do that right now, but I will share with you. So very fun cards. Let's start out with this one. This is the easier of the two. So you have a pretty peacock base, which is your regular standard card size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then you have Lost Lagoon, which is 3 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So you can go ahead and fold that down. Before I adhere it, I have a piece of the Nature Walk, which is just gorgeous paper. And that is 5 1/2 by 3. So a little bit smaller. Oops, I got a little bit of something on there. Let me turn it that way then. It's a little bit smaller, but it goes all the way up to the top. So before you adhere it to the card base, please put this front part on. I think it's easier if you do it this way. So I'm going right up to the top. I have a little bit of leeway on either side. I would recommend doing this with green glue or a liquid glue, so you have some wiggle room. That's pretty close. I got it a little bit. Let me see if I can lift that up and move it just a smidge over. That's pretty good. Okay, so I've got that all. I can go ahead and put some. Once again, I would recommend a liquid glue, so you have some wiggle room for this. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere that up to the top, trying to leave the same amount on either side. That's why with a liquid glue, you have a little bit of leeway there. Now, out of the Nature Walk, so let me show you some of the things I'm using. I'm using Nature Symphony stamp set. I'm using Nature Walk paper. I'm using Nature Symphony dies. And I also decided I really wanted to use this die from the Sunshine and Tulips, which I can't wait to use more of. I have that, and I cut out 2 little, this is out of Old Olive and Lost Lagoon, using the Nature Symphony dies. And this is the Nature Walk Designer Series paper. Say that a lot. So what I'm going to also use is With You in Mind, because I'm going to use this Happy Birthday on the inside. So let me start with the outside. I like, let me show it to you again. I like that To a Great Guy. We don't always have a lot of guy cards, and it's hard, I don't always like creating them, I admit that freely. So it's good to have some in your back pocket like this. Okay, I'm using Pretty Peacock with that. And I am also going to, for this one, I'm going to add it a little bit different. I'm going to add a little bit of old olive leaf on here. Just a little bit, okay, to add a little bit of definition there. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit, if I was doing this in a class, and I probably will do this in my church class coming up in February, I am going to add a little bit of adhesive. I'll probably make this a sticker. It's a much bigger die. I just cut part of it off. So I might not. I might just leave it for you to stamp or to, I might just leave it for you to glue on because it's not a hard glue because you got big spaces there. This one I don't know. I'm going to have to, sometimes I make stickers, but if it's a really small surface, it's hard to get the sticker part off. So I'll have to play that one by ear, whether I do or not. But I'm going to have this one kind of come out a little bit. And then I'm going to pop this up on the front. So this is still a fun fold, but it's an easy fun fold. And I like that it is easy to put together. And it's just got a nice wow factor. I'm going to use some of these faux bronze pentagons and just add a little pentagon up here. Maybe I'll put it right there. Now I feel like I should put one on the other side. See, this is what I always do, and then I start going, oh no, I got too many. But I think 2 is good on there. Kind of frames to a great guy. So that is our first card, but I haven't finished it yet because I'm going to put the happy birthday on the inside, and it just fits. Oops. Now, if that happens, you can always take, let me get a Pretty Peacock here. I have a Pretty Peacock blend, and let me see if I can get it. See, just filled it in. You'd never know. That's the beauty of using our tools. And the last thing I'm going to do is put a little old olive leaf. Gee, I really should be stamping these a little bit sooner, but I'm going to leave that. Once again, if I don't like it, I'm going to come back with my blend. I'm using the small end so I can just get a little bit on there. Yeah, see, that's all it takes. It really doesn't take much. And probably when I come to class, I'll bring my blends just in case. And then I am going to put that on the inside. And as I come back, I use the lighter of the Pretty Peacock. You know me, I like to fuss around. So I'm going to come back in with the darker blend. I think that brings it out a little bit better. So you've got a simple birthday card for a great guy in your life. I have some winter birthdays that I need some cards for. So this one I cased from Lee Ann Greff. I'm going to move that out of the way and bring out the next part. This one I cased from Lynn Dunn, and I wanted to show you the paper. But isn't it fun? Now, if you wanted to, you could put a little bit of DSP down at the bottom, and maybe I will this time. So let me move the things to the side. Once again, when I actually have this uploaded on my Facebook, I will put all the dimensions on there, and I also will put this on my YouTube. So this paper I bought because I saw some fun things with it. It's called Hobby Haven. And I know a couple of people that love books, so that's why I'm doing the book one. There is all sorts of fun paper in this set. You can see baking and plants and crafting. The cool thing is it comes with all of these die cuts in the back. And in the beginning, I'm like, I don't know if I'll use die cuts. Oh, I do. They are great to add to a card, which I'm doing today. So let me show you how we make this card. I'm going to start with a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of Lost Lagoon. And let me get my measurements. I have those to the side. I'm going to score it at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. And so it's going to go this way. The Z-fold part will go in the front. I do recommend bone folding. If you don't have a bone folder, it's a good thing to get. On the inside, I have a piece of white, 4 by 5 1/4. And let me get all my little parts and pieces here. Hopefully I didn't lose any. And I'm going to actually, this is like a little journal. I'm just going to put that in the corner in a minute. But let me do the front part. This is really an easy card. That's what I love about it. So I started out with 4 pieces of early espresso. Let me lay them out. And then I will tell you all the measurements in case you're writing them down. But like I say, you don't have to. They're all 1 inch wide. The bottom one is 5 1/4, 4 3/4, 4 1/4, and 3 3/4. So you can see that like stair step part. Now, this is a little tricky. These are 7/8 inch. So they're a little bit smaller, which is hard. So this one is, I wrote it down, 5 1/8 by 7/8. This one I have to cut because even amazing demonstrators make some mistakes on their when they put it out, and this one is a little mistake I found, which makes me feel better when I make a boo-boo. This is 4 5/8 that go on here. This one is 4 1/8, and this one is 3 5/8. This card I will probably be doing with my Canandaigua group. It's a little trickier. So that will be with my Good Shepherd group. So I am very fortunate to have a class that likes to do a little bit harder classes and another class that likes to do just some cards to have cards in our stash. So the first thing I'm going to do is attach each one of these to the back. Now I saw Cindy Brumbaugh, Cindy Lee Designs did one recently, and I liked hers too. The reason I like this one better is I do think with designer series paper, you need a little bit of a firmer background. And that's why I like this one just a smidge better, because it has this background that you have to keep it a little bit more solid. I see a couple people watching. Hello. If you have any questions, I don't always catch them on the live, but I will once I finish, and I'll check and answer any of them. Can you do this with any designer series paper? Absolutely. Like I say, these are tight, so you just kind of, I try to keep them in order. And, you know, sometimes the hardest part is picking the colors that go with it. I actually looked at the package and found, you know, what colors are in the designer series paper, which I do all the time. Stampin' Up! Does that hard work so we don't have to. So I'm going to go ahead. Oops, this one moved. Sometimes that happens. What did I do? I don't have any clue. I'm going to try it again. That's the beauty of having some adhesive that you can move around a little bit. I might put a little bit more on there. And try that one again. There we go. Make sure that's not too sticky in the back here. There is. Now, if you get glue, do you ever get glue on your surface? Like every minute. So just take a gum eraser. You can get that off really quick. And you can see my desktop. I've been working a lot, so I'm going to need a good clean on that after this card. So now I think we're ready to put them together. Once again, line them back up. This one is the longest. Make sure they're going the right way. This is a lamp, so you have to kind of make sure that goes that way. Now, here's what I always tell people. Always, always, always. Start at the bottom, or you could start at the top. Either one, but only the bottom and the top, and then do the insides. You're going to be much happier. Get that lined up. Hold for a minute. Then I'm going to go right to the top one. That way I'm going to have a better sense on how to place the middle ones. I'm going to kind of organize it so it looks like the other one. You notice I'm not putting adhesive the whole way because that would be closing my card, and we don't want to do that. I'm going to put that right here. Making sure I'm not going over. I'm not so far. And I have one more to go. Now, let's say I didn't do a great job. This one's down a little bit too. Because I did my liquid glue, I can move it up a little bit. And every time I do this, they end up, oops, that one's not quite lined up. Line it up. They end up just a little different, which is totally fine. Now I'm going to use Loveliest Tree for the tiny little happy birthday. And I'm going to put that right over here. Then, golly, I'm not stamping well today, am I? Let's try that again. That's much better. Golly gee. Now I'm going to adhere this to the card base. I'm going to put this little one in the corner. It's like I say, I have a couple of birthdays of book readers coming up, so I figured this was perfect. I used a stylish shaped die and one of those wonderful die cuts, and I'm going to pop that up on the front. Now, I'm not going to pop this part up. I actually glued this because I thought it was too much popping up. And you notice I'm putting it over here to make sure that it's not going to leak out glue. And I am going to add some dimensionals. The other thing is, if you run out of the die cuts you want, you could easily cut some of these out of the paper. Which for my Good Shepherd class, I might do that. I might just cut a bunch of things out. So is that the cutest birthday card for someone who loves books? So I hope you loved the cards we made today. And once again, if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to be yours. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments and have a wonderful day. I'm in near Canandaigua, New York, and it's very cold and it's going to be very snowy here. So everybody stay warm and stay safe and have a great day.